Hi everyone, my name is Monica Alexandru and I'll be talking to you about crowdfunding shortly. But let me start with a very heartfelt thank you to the team on behalf of my entire team for having us here. I'm delighted to meet all of you watching now, even if it is in digital form. Who knows, maybe next year we'll be able to actually meet in person too. Right, so I am part of the Startarium team. Startarium is a platform based in Romania that aims to educate and to support early-stage entrepreneurs like yourselves on your journey to building a sustainable business. Startarium was born in 2016 at the initiative of two very different organizations, Impact Hub Bucharest, an entrepreneurial hub, and ING Bank, a financial institution. Now, we do all sorts of things, from educational videos to pitching competitions, incubation programs, and a full-blown crowdfunding platform, which will be the subject of our conversation today. For today, I will be wearing my marketer hat, so ask me anything about marketing in the Q&A session. That starts at 2:30, I believe. And I'll also be speaking to you from a creative's point of view, as my background is in architecture and design. All right, so let's get down to it. Crowdfunding, as you know, is a way to raise money from a crowd of people. It is in direct opposition to getting funding from an angel investor or a bank, a grant, or other more classic approaches. It's not a new method, but it is one that has become much, much more popular thanks to the internet. And it's also a great choice for cultural or artistic projects because there is always a strong component of community involved. And here I mean the fans. In this cultural sector, maybe the most well-known examples come from the music industry. Artists who have raised money from their fans to produce a new album or to fund a tour, like Amanda Palmer, for example, who actually has a pretty cool TED Talk about it too, or like the Libertines, if you know them. Now, books have been funded through crowdfunding too. Movies also. Board games seem to be a trend. Think Cards Against Humanity or Exploding Kittens if you've played them. And of course, not to mention video games or all sorts of tech products. Okay, so what types of crowdfunding are there? First, there is reward-based crowdfunding. This is the most frequent one. It's basically a way for you to sell your product in advance. You can do this when you have a prototype to show, or a sample, a simulation, a trailer, something to exemplify your product. Your supporters back your campaign because they actually want to have that product. They are your future clients. Then there is the Patreon model. One could call it subscription-based crowdfunding. Most of you probably know it because it's a great platform for content creators of all kinds, illustrators, comics, videos, music, independent journalists, and so on. It's basically a way for your fans to support you with a small monthly donation in exchange for the content that you create regularly for them. Another form of crowdfunding is donation-based. This one is suited for causes, social, personal, sometimes cultural initiatives. People literally donate to your cause without getting anything material in return. So you're not actually selling anything, and it's very, very community and very values-oriented. Now, a more business-oriented form of crowdfunding. Your supporters are buying shares in your company. Think of it as having a large number of mini angel investors in your business. Actual product, what you create, but the profit that they get when they sell your shares. It's a more technical form of crowdfunding, so it's suited for the more advanced stages of a business when you can actually talk about investments. And last but not least, there is debt-based crowdfunding, which is basically a form of peer-to-peer lending. Again, it's a more technical form, but you should know about it. Your supporters lend you the money and then gain from the interest that you pay when you return the loan. So, recap if you're taking notes. 5 types of crowdfunding: reward-based, donation-based, equity-based, debt-based, and subscription-based. Okay, let's come back to the first one, reward-based crowdfunding. As I've said before, this is the most frequent type and is also the one that we practice and that we recommend on Startarium. To create a reward-based campaign, these are the things you will need. First, a larger goal. Why do you want to do crowdfunding? What do you hope to obtain? Second, the financial objective. This is the amount of money that you need to raise to consider it a success. The timing, when is the best time for your campaign to happen and how long it will last. The rewards, what people will actually buy in your campaign. The content, this is your actual campaign page, video, photos, text, everything you need to get your point across. Very importantly, a communication strategy, that's ads, emails, posting on social media, just spreading the word. And, of course, a plan for success. This is also very important because if you do raise the money, you have to know how you are going to deliver everything that you promised. So, recap again. Larger goal, financial objective, duration, rewards, content, communication strategy, and delivery plan. Okay, let's talk about the first one, the larger goal. I think to better understand that, we need to take a step back for a minute and look at the context, at why exactly we recommend crowdfunding at Startarium and why we chose to integrate it into the platform. So, when Startarium was created, it was based on a study on entrepreneurial needs in Romania. Back then, that study identified 3 major needs. And they're still valid today, even if maybe not in the same proportions. The first need is a need for business literacy. That's entrepreneurial education, to know how you can actually build a healthy, sustainable business. The second one might come as a little surprise. It was the need to overcome a fear of failure. That's basically the fear that stops you from dreaming big, and it is also the one that stops you from acting. In many ways, for entrepreneurs, this one is based on a fear of an uncertainty. So it's directly linked to not knowing how to reduce that uncertainty. There are tools and methods that you can use to test and validate an idea before taking the big leap, and we can help you find out what they are and how to use them. And thirdly, of course, it was the need for simpler, faster access to financing options. Now, the study was based in Romania, but I believe it is safe to say that it extends far beyond our borders, especially when we're looking toward the Eastern, even towards some of the central part of Europe, where the so-called startup culture is still sort of young. Now, crowdfunding addresses all of these 3 needs. It's a fast, intense business education process. It gives you validation to cure your fear of failure, and it's a modern, direct funding solution. All right, so with that in mind, let's talk about the first element of your campaign, the larger goal, the why. These are the ones that we recommend you choose from. Choose one or many. Goal 1, testing and validation. You pick this one because you need a way to test the market's reaction before spending all your resources on an idea. Goal 2, visibility and word of mouth. Crowdfunding is a great pretext for the press to talk about you, for your friends and family to talk about you, your fans, even your existing clients. So take that opportunity. Goal 3 is accelerated learning. It's a very intense process. Crowdfunding forces you to take action, to make decisions, to fix problems that you've been postponing. So if you're not an entrepreneur yet, by the end of your campaign, you most likely are going to be one. Goal 4 is leverage for future negotiation. You'll be able to prove that people already want to buy your product and already have bought it, even if your business is not necessarily fully set up. You're giving your partners an extra reason to trust you or invest in you or help you reach your goals. And goal 5, finally, is just getting the money, raising the sum, the financing sum. So if you're thinking about crowdfunding for yourself, I would like to invite you to pick 2 main goals right now from the 5 that I've just told you about. Testing and validation, visibility, accelerated learning, leverage and future negotiation, and getting the money. Once you've answered your why, you can move on and start to actually build your campaign. So let's start with the first step, the financial objective. This is the amount that you need to raise so that you can actually deliver your promise. The amount you need to consider your campaign a success. When you calculate this amount, make sure you include all your expenses. We're talking advertising, production, shipping, taxes, salaries, all of it. That's because obviously you don't want a crowdfunding campaign to cost you more than it can bring you. Still on the topic of financial objective, there are 2 technical models that you need to know about because most crowdfunding platforms only accept one of these models. Model 1 is all or nothing. Say you set your target, your financial target, to 5,000 euro, but you only manage to raise 4,000. What happens then is that when the campaign ends, you don't get to keep the 4,000. They get refunded to your backers. This one is safer for the buyers. It's often more exciting and sometimes more motivating for them. Model 2 is the keep it all model. This means that even if you don't reach your goal, you get to keep all the money. This one is generally riskier because the amount you raise might not be enough for you to actually deliver on your promises. So your supporters might end up empty-handed, and that can lead to a whole other set of problems. So you've got your financial objective and you're ready to move on, but I will not go deeper into all the other elements because there are tons and tons of guides and examples on the internet, so you can start working from there. I do want to emphasize one last thing though, the word campaign in the expression crowdfunding campaign. Essentially, a crowdfunding campaign is a marketing campaign. So no matter how much you invest in your presentation video, your product, or your crowdfunding page, if you're not prepared to actually promote it, most likely it will not succeed. Why? Because people just don't know it exists. It's that simple.